Right, this is episode 3, and this one is going to be annoying. This is a brand new level 1 mage character. We are playing with randomized artifacts. We start with no gear, but we do get 591 gold coins to spend. The mage is particularly suitable to this. But right now, really, we're going to focus on setting up the game for you. First off, depending on, I don't know, the pixies, the fairies, when you download it and you open it, sometimes it will look like this, sometimes it will not look like this. Sometimes it will look like ASCII, because that's the way it used to do. These graphics that you see, they're called tiles, but graphics just means what it is. You know, in the end, graphics and tiles are kind of the same thing. You do have other options like atom bolt tiles. This is shock bolt. The original tiles, you really should not touch this. And sometimes Angband is completely stretched. It looks horrendous, and even though I've been playing this game for God knows how many years, I don't really know how to fix that. This is what it should look like for me. This is visually perfect. Now, hopefully you have downloaded the game, you have 4.1.3, and you've set up your mage character with randarts, with selling on instead of selling off, and you also do not have any gear, but you do have the money to spend, and you do still get a ration of food, and you do get a wooden torch. So we are ready to buy some stuff and go down into the dungeon, but before we do that, we have to set up the actual game itself, not just for this one character, but for everything. And if I have some time, I'll explain progression in the game outside of the game. Now, if I press the equal key over here, I will get, we used the same key to get into the birth options. There is a subsection here. You can no longer change them because your character was already born, but it will show you which one you've used. So it tells me that we're gonna have a randomized artifact set. It tells me that we have not disabled selling, and we are not given a kit or useful gear. Now over here, there's other things that you will want, and you will pretty much want these every time. Many of these you need to do every single time you start a new character. That's not really a problem. There is one of them which you do not need to set up every time. User interface options. Go in it, and really here the only thing that you should be changing is under P. Center map continuously. There are advantages and disadvantages to using this. Generally, there is almost exclusively advantages, or rather the other way around, there's a disadvantage to not having it, which will be a lot more relevant. So press enter and change it to yes, and then just exit. All of these do interesting things. They are all usable in a way or another. It doesn't change the way that the game behaves. It just changes the way that the game shows you things. So for example, if you use always pick up items, you will always pick up items. It doesn't make you pick up items any faster, so it doesn't change the way the game behaves, but it does change the way that the game is shown to you. Just press ESC, it automatically saves. Then we want to go, this we will use quite a lot, ignoring, but not now. Set base delay, you start with 40, this is too slow, 40 milliseconds between every move. I play with 10. You may want to put it at 20 because one of the problems is that things at 10 milliseconds delay can happen quite quickly, but I'm just going to show you, and if you do find that 10 is too difficult for you, you can change that. And then there is going to be this one here, key maps. Key maps are kind of macros, essentially. Within the Angband community, they use the word macro different. They think it means something differently than a key map. It doesn't, but it's kind of historical, so we try to maintain that. And for this version of Angband, they're called key maps. We'll go into it, and this is difficult menu to use. It doesn't really explain what it does, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what to do. But I will exit and I will show you why then we are going to use this menu. This is a mage and we have nothing. Now I could go to one of these shops, this is the town, and look to buy some stuff, but because this is just an instructional video, we're going to go with the most basic procedure. I'm not looking for items which sometimes spawn, just really for the most basic instruction how to win. We'll go to this place. This is, that's probably a magic ring. This is the place that sells mage stuff. Go inside, there's the books. We're going to buy one book of magic for beginners. Now normally I also buy the second and the third, but again, won't really need to do it on this particular case. Actually, let's buy one of the second ones as well. The third, you can buy it, you'll still have money. And normally I do use that because I have 466, I spend 400, I'm left with 66. That's actually enough to buy everything that I need, but I'm gonna simplify things even more for you. I am now going to press Shift G, capital G, in order to get, which is the key to learn new spells. And it will tell me, well, you know, you're just a level 1. The only book that you can learn from is this Magic for Beginners, because you suck. Do you want to use it? We go, yeah, we do want to use that one. And I can learn 2 spells. The first one that we'll go with is Magic Missile. I have now learned Magic Missile. I can cast Magic Missile by pressing the P button. I have no idea what P is casting, but it is. Just learn that that's the one. Get into the book, cast Magic Missile, and then it will say, who do you want to cast Magic Missile towards? You know, who do you want to attack? You can choose one of the directional keys on the side of your keyboard. If you have a 10 key less, you will use the 4 arrow keys, and then there's that little block of keys, of 6 keys on top, and there's 4 more of them which have been assigned to be the movement keys. You can use those ones, or you can aim manually. For example, you can press that key, and then you can aim manually like this. What I've done is I pressed the asterisk, and this will be useful in some cases because it will show where the spell goes, and it will also show if it's interrupted by a wall, right? And spells do actually cross that line. They go there. So if you are casting a fireball and wanting it to explode there, the fireball will explode there because it impacts the wall. Or you can use the asterisk key, the key next to enter, and that will target the nearest. In this case, there's nothing, and you haven't done anything, because in this game, until you do an action, you do not waste time I'm just going to exit and say, actually, I don't want to cast Magic Missile. I've not wasted any time. Turn has not passed. If I have a monster inside like that, I can do P to cast, A, then again A, and then use the, why do I keep saying that? The asterisk to target the guy. And of course, we failed. The random number generator, Angband, absolutely blows. We shoot it, it's dead, because these aren't really enemy mobs. They're kind of just introductory mobs. Now, we do not want to do this every single time for a million times. We want to create a keybind. So I will press the equal button. I will go into the edit key maps, and I will create a key map. And this says, okay, which button on your keyboard do you want to assign to a key map? Now keep in mind that almost everything on your keyboard is already assigned to something, so you really only have the F keys. We are going to press F1, and then I'll say, okay, what do you want to do? Action. You need to remember what I've just done in order to cast a spell. That means that I will now press P, because P is what we used to get into the magic menu. Then we would have gotten the first book, the MAGE I book, and that you selected with A, because it's the first. And so we press A, then you will get the list of spells that's in there. The first one is Magic Missile, that also corresponds to A, so we go A, and then we're going to use once again the apostrophe to target the nearest monster. You don't need to, you can create any kind of a key map you want, but this is the most convenient. And that's our key map. I will now press the $ Shift 4, and I will say, do you want to save it? Yes, I do. Now, it has created, the game has created a key map that has my character name. So if I go look into the game folder, there is now a key map in a file called magix.prf, preference. Let's save that. When I close the game and restart the game will automatically load the key map file, the preference file that belongs to that character. Now we have a key map for F1 that shoots a magic missile. There is a monster in sight, so I'm going to press F1. Bang! He's dead. Now, as you notice, we've used up our spell points. That's annoying, because we're a mage. We kind of suck at doing anything else but casting spells. So what we want to do is recover the spell points. They will slowly regenerate. But there is something that we can do in order to pass time. We can either press the 5 key. The 5 key lets you wait one turn. It's useful in many situations. And to note, if your character, because of magical items or spells, is actually moving faster, is hasted, when you rest one of your turns. So if you are fast enough that you move twice for every time the monster moves once, you will need to press the 5 button 2 times in order for the monster to move 1 time. So what we want to do is we want to rest. Now, once upon a time, there used to be the search feature. You would search for hidden doors, you would search for traps, and that took some time, and it was bound to the S key. That no longer exists, but the reality is that people use that in order to rest and recover hit points. So we're going to create a keybind that does that. Key maps, create a key map, press S, It remembers the old action, but we do not want that. So we want R, Shift 7, Enter, and then $sign. Yes, save and save. Let's see what that does in real game. If I do Shift R, it says rest. Do you want to rest? Okay, you have a choice to. First, rest any number of game turns at your speed. Maybe you're waiting for an object to recharge after you use it. Maybe you want to press the exclamation point so that both your spell points and hit points will recover. The first one that caps stops the rest. So if you have 5 hit points out of 10 and 0 spell points, by the time you've recovered those 5, it doesn't matter if you recovered the spell points, it will stop resting. Or you can use the ampersand, and the ampersand will rest you in full. Now here I have done it, nothing has changed because of this annoying guy over here, and you've discovered another important mechanic in the game. That is disturb. So monsters will disturb, meaning they will stop these non-decisional actions. When you rest, it's essentially only one, it's rest. When you rest, if something happens that is worthy of your notice, according to the game, for example, a monster has now come into sight, it will stop you from resting and you can take an action. If you say, I want to rest for 5,000 turns, it doesn't let a monster casually find you and beat on you for 5,000 turns before you can do anything. You can always stop resting and then do something. For this particular thing, I'm going to go into the dungeon because I know there's likely not going to be any mobs. I will now press the S key. It will do the rest function until a mob showed up. And now it's back in my control. I'm going to go back to the city, rest a little bit more. Now I have everything else. So for a mage, you will need at least one keybind for Magic Missile, because in the beginning you will be using Magic Missile, and one for rest. These are fundamental. You really cannot play the game without them. While I'm at it, I'm also going to say that I have my own file. I will probably just upload it to the video in order you can download it, stick it somewhere, and use it. I use F1, F2, F3, and 4 for attacks. They are Magic Missile, Frostbolt, Firebolt, and Acid Bolt. All of these have their own peculiarities. So Frostbolt is better than Firebolt for some reasons. F5 is teleport other. I put it on the F5 key because the F5 key has a space between F4 and F5. It's impossible to make a mistake. You will be using that spell for things that you cannot kill. If you cannot kill them, that generally that they will wreck you. They can kill you. The other ones are high level spells, and I have other keys all the way up to F10. They all do useful stuff that I really do not feel like having to cast manually. As a mage, you have a lot of other spells, but these are cast rarely and maybe just once. And so it's absolutely fine to cast them by just going P, selecting the book, and then doing it manually. Right now, all that you really need is to set up these two basic keybinds so that you've got some idea of how the game needs to be set up. And the final thing to know is that if when you create a character, you call that character John or Mark or David, and then space, and then put the letter I, which the game interprets as the Roman numeral number 1, then if that character dies, you can create another one, and it will say, do you want to play with the same character as your previous one? and it will change the letter I from 1 to 2, I, and it will automatically load it down. And also, another feature which is not explained anywhere that I discovered after about 5 years of playing this game is that if you call your character mage or ranger or paladin and so on, whenever you create one of those classes, it will automatically load that preference file. So you can create a preference file called warrior.prf, and no matter what you call your warrior, if it's a warrior, it will load that preference file.